Hi, I'm Tiffany, and this is The Balanced Life, Redefine Success, Redefine Fail. And today I'm going to have a little bit of a change of pace. I've been sharing a lot of really practical things and the reasons why I do things a certain way. And today I want to focus a little bit on attitudes and some lessons that I've learned now being a mom of 4 adult kids and 2 adult exchange students, and looking back over some things at some successes I had in business and in parenting and family, and some failures, and what I realized about a week ago. So the title of this video is Give Me versus excuse me, Give Me versus Make Me. I'm not going to be that emotional. Give me versus make me. And this comes out of the story of the prodigal son that's found in the Bible. I am a Christian. I love Jesus with everything in me, and I use the Bible to teach me about life. I don't just have a few proverbs thrown up on my wall and a couple psalms that I've read on occasion. I don't just read the 4 Gospels and the book of Revelation and the book of Genesis. I can see lessons all throughout, like Elisha, Hezekiah is one of my favorite. Habakkuk is like almost falling out of my Bible because I've read it so many times. I'll be teaching on Proverbs 31 and a little bit of a different approach at some point, because I believe that Proverbs 31 isn't so much like what a perfect wife is, but rather talking about a good marriage and the promises that God gives to women. So I'm excited to share that with you sometime. But today is the give me versus make me. So if I could go back to a point in my life, I would go back about 15 years ago, around the time of my husband's cancer diagnosis. I realized that at that point, we were going through so many things that my attitude was always, God, give me this. God, I need this. God, I need this. God, I need this. I need more money. I need more food. I need you to heal my husband. I need to know how to help my kids. I need to know how to communicate with my daughter. I had a daughter that we adopted who at 5 years old was still nonverbal and didn't even have a concept of language because she was deaf. And the country where she had lived her first 5 years had her listed as an unteachable deaf mute. So nobody ever tried to communicate with her. And so I was teaching her from ground zero. So I was always going to God saying, this is what I need, this is what I need, this is what I need. And it wasn't necessarily bad stuff. It's not that I was being selfish and saying I need a Jaguar. Not that there's anything wrong with having a Jaguar. I will steal your hood ornament. I just think the little cats are cool. But what I've learned is give me versus make me. Give me is a sense of entitlement. Give me this thing that I need. Make me is about education. It's about learning and figuring out how to basically, instead of giving a fish, learning to fish. You've heard that analogy. Give a man to fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. When we get into a desperate place, we just want our needs met. We want that pain to go away. But sometimes the better way is the process of learning how to help yourself from that point forward. Give me is about demanding rights. I have a right to this. I have a right to this. You owe me. Make me recognizes your opportunities. And that's what I'm trying to teach you with this channel. I don't care how little you have. When I made a decision to turn my life around, and when my husband, who was also with me, made that decision, we had we were within 10 days of losing our house. We had not eaten a full meal in over 5 months. We had zero source of income, and we had no prospects nor any idea when we would be able to earn income again. It was during the recession of 2007. I literally begged McDonald's and Burger King to hire me, and neither one would return my calls. And even when I went there in person, the manager wouldn't talk to me. This is how desperate it was. I have a college degree, and I could not get a job at McDonald's. It's not about demanding your rights. It's about recognizing your opportunities. I saw that I had an opportunity to learn and to take what I had already learned and accomplished up to that point and create something. So I created writingcareercoach.com, and that actually turned into something that helped sustain us for years. Give me is pride. I'm great as I am, but make me is teachable. It's always looking for a way to improve. If you are not always looking for a way to improve, not beating yourself up, not thinking, oh, I'm so terrible, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve that. No, but always being willing to learn Not about accepting everything, because some things are stupid, some things are evil. It's about, like when I've talked about ways to get out of debt, I was always looking at new ways to get out of debt to see if there was something that I had either missed or something I didn't know about that might work better in my situation and help me. That's where the basis of the equation came. I was always learning and teaching myself, and I was always trying to learn from people who were doing at that moment what I wanted to do someday. I lived at the library. My kids, every Monday, we were at the library for like 2 or 3 hours. And we would go other days of the week too and spend hours at the library. We would talk to the librarians. We knew them so well. So in the Bible story of the prodigal son goes to his father and says, "Give me my inheritance." That's essentially saying to his dad, "I wish you were dead. I want what you have. Give it to me now." Think about if one of our kids came to us and said, we have 4 kids, so give me a fourth of everything you have now. What would be your reaction? If you have just 1 kid or 2 kids, like in the example of the story, he had 2 children. Give me half of everything now. I don't care how you're going to take care of yourself, but give me. It's selfish. But yet a lot of us have that attitude. I don't care. As long as I get what's mine, I don't care about anybody else. Make me is a loving response. The older brother even said, "You never gave me a goat to have fun with my friends." He had ingratitude. That's who I was. I was always waiting for the right time to get my rewards. And so I'd always kick them down the road, which is why I say you need to have things like an allowance or discretionary fund or balance, because then when people didn't appreciate what I did for them, I really grew to resent them and resent their attitude toward me. And then also my kids felt guilty because they would hear me say things like, "Well, if I had this, I could do this, or if this would happen, I could have this." And the reality is, I was always waiting for the right time and denying myself joy, waiting for the exact right moment and being mad at everybody else for enjoying their life in that moment. That's a wrong attitude. So the father in the story of the prodigal son, well, if you don't know the story of the prodigal son, the younger son says, "Give me my inheritance." And the dad gives it to him. The son takes off with it and goes and he spends it basically on sex and drugs and, a raucous lifestyle. And then a famine hits. And boom, he's impoverished. And he finds himself feeding pigs, wishing he could eat the pig's food. Now, pigs are unclean to the Jewish people. So that was like the lowest of the low. It'd be like working in a sewer all day. Like sludging through it, not working for the water department, but sludging through the actual sewer all day long, just cleaning muck when you grew up wealthy and, having everything given to you. Then he realizes that all of my friends have left me, but my dad treated his hired people better than I'm being treated now. I'm going to go back to my dad and say, "Listen, I'm not worthy to be your son, but hire me. Let me work for you. Make me one of your servants." But as the son came back, the father saw him and he ran and greeted him and he had a big party celebrating him coming back. That's when the older brother got mad because he said, "Wait, I've always been here, and this guy who wasted all of your money, you're welcoming him with a huge party." And the dad goes, "Listen, you could have had a party anytime you wanted, and everything I have is yours." Because remember, the younger son already got his inheritance. He's like, "Everything I have is yours. But we have to celebrate because your brother was lost and now he's found. He has come back. He has come to his senses." And this is adding on to the story. This isn't in the story. But in my own life, I apply that with not only did he come back, but he came back better because he had an understanding and an appreciation of what he really had. And so from there, he could try to make himself a blessing to other people. And he wasn't selfish. So the father celebrated. Father is God in the story, but it's a lesson for us today. You are the only person that you can change. This father could not change his son, and so he allowed his son to go ahead and do what was in his mind to do. It doesn't mean as parents we just let our kids do whatever. This kid was obviously an adult. It's, for those of us who have adult children, we can't control what our kids do all the time. We have to allow them to make their own choices and their own decisions. And we do not have to condone it if they're doing something that's wrong, but we do have to love them. and we do have to be willing like this father, he didn't say, oh, that's fine, I don't care. He celebrated that his son had returned, and his son had returned repentant. So, you have not arrived, and you never will. But each day, recognize blessings and look to improve yourself to be the kind of person that can do something. That's living. So where I shared in a previous video about getting rid of debt, it's not just a matter of paying off a bill, but become the kind of person who improves their status financially. So as you get those debts paid off, build up your savings, put yourself in a position where you are able to take advantage of opportunities to grow your wealth, not only for yourself, but for your children after you're gone. That's what we've done, and that's what I hope to help you guys to do in these videos, is to learn how to position yourself, even if you only have a little bit. You may worry because I don't have tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars right now and things. But what you can do is you can teach yourself, and you can learn, and you can practice by playing games. The richdad.com has Rich Dad Poor Dad game. That's a great one. You can play Monopoly. You can play Payday. Apparently, Dave Ramsey has one. It's like Live Within Your Means or something. I don't know. I don't know that game. But play different games. Write down on a piece of paper, what would I do if? You don't have to have an actual board game. If I had this much extra, what would I do with it? My teacher in the 5th grade social studies class did that with us, and I never forgot the lesson. She gave us each, we had to find an apartment and this and that, and she said, this is what your monthly budget is. And then every week she would draw a card, and it would either be something good or bad that happened. And did we set ourselves up right? Did we find a reasonable apartment? Did we find a reasonable this and that within our means? And if you were out, and it affected your grade and all those kind of things. So work to become the kind of person who can survive at the next stage. Don't focus on what you want from life. Focus on becoming a person who lives life and blesses others. I heard a wonderful teaching yesterday by Darren Hardy. And he said, I actually was talking to my husband about it at dinner because it was so impactful. He drew a picture, and it was like this. So initially this guy said, his mentor was asking him, what do you want to do with your life? And he started saying everything he wanted to do with business. And so this is business, and this outside ring was life. And his mentor said, no. What do you want your life to look like that? And get into a business that allows you to live that way. That was a huge revelation for me, because I always felt like I wanted to be available to my kids, but then I sought out jobs that gave me a feeling of prestige and responsibility that prevented me from being with my kids. Well, I wasn't living the life that I wanted, which is why I was always so stinking unhappy. And now I am no longer working. I'm focusing on ways to bring value to the family by my presence and by volunteering and by saving money, and then just not worrying about what value I bring to the family all the time. We live within our means, and we live more frugally. My husband and I are in agreement that I'm not working and he is, and this is what we're doing during this season of our life. And so I focus on a person who is okay with not having a title or status. So when people say to me, oh, what do you do? I say I'm retired, because I'm not quite to the place of saying nothing. So remember, life owes us nothing, but each day we have an opportunity to get something out of life. So become the kind of person who can be successful at the next step you're trying to get to. And that's the story of the prodigal son. I mean, there's a story of salvation, and there's many things, but the Bible has so many different lessons for each story. And for me, at this juncture, I'm already saved. I love Jesus with everything in me, and I really want to represent him well. So I'm not like the prodigal running out and blowing all my money on cheap women and wine. But the issue that I have is asking for things instead of trying to be the kind of person and become the kind of person and learn the things that the kind of person needs to know to do it. Give you an easy to understand example. You would not hand a scalpel to somebody who was 15 and said, I'd like to be a doctor someday. You would say, you need to learn, you need to go through this, you need to learn about physiology, then you've got to train under another doctor, you got to learn about anatomical structures where you can and can't cut. You need to know how to work with anesthesia. Or are you going to do some kind of a regional block? Are you going to have anesthesia do the work and you're going to cut? You have to have all these considerations. You can't just like slice into something. Likewise, you can't just start a business. You can't just invest in real estate. You can't just invest in the stock market unless you want to learn by failing and going broke and doing it with money that you can afford to lose. And I guess that is a way to do it. But it makes more sense to spend time when you have more time than money. Then spend time learning. And if you don't have time or money, then listen and find ways to practice. Remember how I talked about the hand-brain connection? Do those kind of things. Make yourself the kind of person who can succeed at the next level. And in light of that, I'll be talking in an upcoming video, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified for upcoming videos. Because when I talk in the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, I'll be talking about the things that we do to stop ourselves from being successful subconsciously. We don't realize we're even doing it, but yet this is the thing that prevents us from going to the next level. So think about, what do you have to do? Write it down. What do you need to do to become the person at the next level? And I will see you in the next video. Bye.